Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and in this video we'll be talking a little bit about possibly the greatest leveling system I've ever seen for World of Warcraft, and I'm not exaggerating. So far, the leveling system that they're bringing out on the BlizzCon and what they will be implementing in patch 7.3.5, so before the expansion even comes out, looks like one of the best systems I've ever seen when it comes to leveling, at least on paper. We'll see how it is once the game actually comes out, once the patch comes out, and once we can see the implementation. Anyway, let's talk a bit about the new leveling system. The leveling system in the next patch and in the expansion is going to be a scaling technology. A lot like how we saw in Legion, you could technically level anywhere you wanted to in any of the 4 zones, and you can still hit max level in any order. The mobs around you and the boss enemies and the quests scale to your level, as well as the gear rewards. So they want to implement the scaling technology to the rest of the game. The vanilla zones, the other expansions like BC and Wrath, they want to kind of tie together Cataclysm expansion and Mists of Pandaria, and the Warlord's General will be its own beast on its own. So let's take a look at how this leveling technology will work on the continent of Eastern Kingdoms and some of the familiar zones from there. So as we all know, if you level as Alliance, you'll start in the Northshire Abbey and you'll continue into the Elven Forest, where you normally level until level 10, and afterwards you kind of want to go to Westfall. At level 15 you can make a choice to go to Red Ridge Mountains until level 25, and then Duskwood is also an option. So there are a few places where you can go as an optional space for you to level in. But in the next expansion they want to be able to allow, in the next patch, the scaling technology to let you level almost anywhere. Vanilla zones are going to be mostly encompassed anywhere between level 1 to 60. So technically, if you are a level 58 character, you can come back to Elven Forest and finish a few side quests, and they will be scaling to your level. Although some of these zones are going to have minimums and maximum with caps, and Blizzard is still deciding how they want to do those minimums and maximums. But as an example, they said all the vanilla zones will be scaling to you at least from level 1 to 60. Some of the beginner zones like Elven Forest and maybe even Dun Morogh for the dwarf starting area will scale to your max level. So if you want to come back and finish a few side quests just for a little bit extra squeeze of XP, you technically can. But they do want to allow people to be able to have some kind of progress in terms of the areas they can go, and they do want to have minimum scaling areas for some of the places. Like for example, if you start in Elven Forest, then I want people to be able to run all the way to Blasted Lands and then level there as a level 1 and get a few levels cracked out there. Of course, they're going to take some places like Westfall, for example, and Red Ridge Mountains that are nearby Elven Forest, and normally you go Elven Forest, Westfall, then Red Ridge Mountains. Technically, as a player, they might allow you to go to Elven Forest or Westfall and quest in any of those areas as a level 1 to 60, and the content will scale with you. But something like Red Ridge Mountains will still have some kind of a level barrier. It will have a minimum of level 15, but it will scale all the way up to level 60 as well. So anywhere between level 15 and level 59, you can still get the quest from those areas. Once you are done leveling through all the vanilla zones, as you still do want to go up and up and up and up through all the zones, eventually as Alliance, most likely you'll end up in the Blasted Lands where you'll hit your maximum level, or at least level 58. And then time comes for expansions, where you have to go through Outland or Northrend. Now, some of you might enjoy Outland leveling better, some of you might enjoy Northrend leveling better, but those places are going to be scaled a little bit differently. Both Outland and Northrend are going to scale between level 60 to 80. So technically you can start your expansion from vanilla straight into Northrend, ICC, Lich King, and run the full area of Ulduar Zone throughout the whole thing, complete every single quest in the Northrend expansion before you even go and do anything in the Outland area. Again, all those quests will scale, and it looks like those quests don't really have a minimum or a maximum. So if you want to go to Northrend and you want to go to the Ulduar Zone, and you want to start leveling there as a level 60 right off the bat, as long as you have the flying and the means of transportation, you should still be able to do that. So you'll be able to go to all these places and start a campaign, start the quest lines, basically level how you would in Legion. Pick a zone, start there. After you finish the whole zone, you can go, or if you hit whatever level you hit, you can just move on to another zone without really any worries. And the best part is you can go to Outland then Northrend, or the other way around, Northrend to Outland. Or maybe you might even be able to go complete one zone in Northrend, complete one zone in Outland, complete one zone in Northrend, complete one zone in Outland. And while that would be a lot of traveling back and forth, at least it would vary the content. Next comes the other 2 expansions, Cataclysm and Mists of Pandaria. Both of those expansions have been tied together as a content between level 80 and level 90. So after you're done leveling in Outland and Northrend, with variations that you can make for yourself, you can go straight into Mists of Pandaria. And after you're done with Mists of Pandaria, if let's say that was your favorite content and you did every single quest there, you're still a few levels away. You can go into Cataclysm, complete a few different quests, maybe finish 1 or 2 zones at most, and then you'll be able to ding max level to move on to Warlord's general content, then into Legion content, and then into the brand new content for the brand new expansion. So this is the leveling scale and how it works. Another thing they want to do for leveling is also adjust the leveling experience in terms of how long it takes to kill a mob, and then they'll be doing the item level squish in the future, so that should give you a little bit more of a pleasant leveling experience. Instead of running around and one-shotting mobs, even if you don't have heirloom gear, they want to allow you to have experience to be able to actually play the game how it is meant to be. And right now, Legion, World of Warcraft in general, the leveling experience is just kind of like this chore. And then once you get to max level, or the closer you get to the max or end level content, the more it becomes to, shape into a real game. Prior to that, it's a lot of one-shots, it's a lot of tanks just not being able to die, it's a lot of healers that just can take a billion hits, and they'll just never, take a dive. A lot of the content just isn't scaled. Even if you run around with heirlooms, and even if you do the Iron Man challenge, which I started the Iron Man challenge in Legion, so far this challenge haven't really given me a lot of, I guess, worries, because the classes and the way that they're designed and the gear, even if I don't have any stats on my gear, I'm still doing a pretty good job. There were a few moments where I was really close to death, and it's mostly due to my lack of health that I wasn't able to survive, or close to not able to survive certain encounters. But because I'm a monk, I do have mobility and I can scoot my way out of there. What I'm talking about is the Iron Man challenge, after all the scaling and then the item level adjustments, might actually be a real thing again, because it'll actually be difficult. Questing and leveling and getting green pieces of gear and blue pieces and item level increases might actually start feeling rewarding again after the scaling technology comes out, and then they changed up the item level and how the pacing works. So this could be possibly the best leveling experience for World of Warcraft. It might not be the same experience that people had in vanilla in comparison, but it won't be as ridiculous as it is currently. Anything low level, anything under level 100, I would say, is a little bit silly. So the only time I can really take the game seriously is in Legion leveling, where it actually feels pretty good. Again, as long as you don't really use heirlooms. The pacing feels nice, the time it takes you to complete quests and get to max level feels pretty right. But level 1 through 60 is just kind of, feels like a joke, and it's hard to take it serious, so it's hard to really sit down and level a character. But in the next expansion and the next patch, we should be able to have a way improved leveling system. And I'm really excited and really hopeful for it. I want to test it out. I want to try the Iron Man challenge for it. I want to go and level another class with a new leveling system after the class implementations and all the changes have been made in the pre-patch area, and just to re-experience the game all over again. I think it'll be awesome. I think it'll be exciting. And I think it's a change that the WoW leveling system really needed for a long while. And I'm really happy that they're bringing something like this, which has been successful in some of the other games in the past, to World of Warcraft. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think about the leveling system, because out of all the things that are coming out, besides the PvP and the new content, I'm really excited about the leveling of the game. To be able to go back, and while it's not quite vanilla leveling with all the nooks and crannies and the punishing death mechanic and then running back to your body and then going to town and getting food and everything, it still would be charming to have to go back and really think of strategy and pick your battles, and gear progression would be very exciting and leveling, and for quests to become more meaningful and for combat to become more meaningful would be definitely a nice change of pace for the game, especially in the early end content. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, because likes allow my videos to be spread to a lot more people, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, because again, I'll be doing a lot more coverage for Battle of Azeroth as we see more of it come out, and I'm here to update you guys on everything that you need. So be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell next to the subscribe button to be updated as soon as a new video comes out. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I'm very excited about the new leveling system, and I'll see all of you in the next video.